What's up, fam? It's your boy Prue. Holler at me. We're going to do Joe Hill's King of Sorrow. And I apologize. My window has a glare. I usually don't record during the day. I try to record at night. We're just going to deal with this, though. So that's going to be there to block out the glare. So I apologize. Also, amazing artwork. I don't know who did it. Shout out. Whoever did your artwork. Joe Hill's King Sorrow is a 900-page chunker of a book. Let me tell you, though, this was so freaking good. I love this a lot. Joe Hill. Man. Okay. So I will get this out of the way. I hear this a lot. I don't personally see it. I think I know why that's there. This gets a lot of comparisons to it. The premise is generally the same. But Joe Hill being Stephen King's son, I feel like that's why that comparison is there. Also, there's a lot of coming of age in this book. I kind of get it, but it's not. It's completely different. It's completely different. But let's get into it, okay? So Joe Hill's King Sorrow. I got this kind of as a Christmas gift. It's amazing. I freaking love this. I love this a lot. This was the main character, King Sorrow, is the bad guy, kind of. I feel like if you summon an ancient dragon and then bad things happen because you summoned an evil ancient dragon, the dragon isn't at fault. You knew good, well, and in when you went into this endeavor that if you summoned an evil ancient dragon, it's a dragon. It is immortal. This thing is going with you the rest of your life. It just is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's an ancient evil dragon. He's not an ancient, like, jolly green dragon. He's not all, like, whimsical. He's not Aslan, okay? It's a dragon, okay? He's gonna try to kill you and eat you and evil. He's evil dragon. It says going in. So I feel like if you summon him or an evil entity of any kind to get something done, and then you're like, oh, it didn't work out. No crap. It's an evil entity. No crap. So that's on you. Okay. But King Sorrow is my favorite character. This dragon was written very well. I liked his perspective. I like some of the things he did without spoilers. This guy was just great. I really like the character King Sorrow. Joe Hill took about 10 years to write us a second book. Joe Hill's writing, I freaking like. It's Joe Hill. 20th Century Ghosts was an anthology of short stories that I enjoyed. I like that a lot. I just checked that out one day at my local library because I was like, oh, I want a ghost story. I like ghost stories. But then he did Nosferatu, and that got kind of buzzed. There was a show about it, and I didn't read it. But then I finally picked it up, and I was like, well, this is great. This ties into Stephen King's universes. And I can tell he grew as an author. As a writer, he got buffer. He got gains. So good. Then this came out. This is my new favorite Joe Hill. Joe Hill, this was amazing. So I'm going to say thank you. Thank you, Joe Hill. And if you look on the back, the blurbs, Paul Tremblay, John Scalzi, Alan Moore, Thomas Oldhebelett, the guy who did there's a book of his I cannot remember the name of it, The Hex. He did Hex. And, I don't know what Darker Days is. And then the girl who wrote The Reformatory, whose name I've given up pronouncing, Anne Ruth Ware. So, a lot of good blurbs on this. Okay, so I'm going to get into the main premise of the story. There's a kid named Arthur, and he's getting bullied by some drug dealers. And Arthur's mom's in the correctional facilities in some fashion. I don't know if it's like prison, jail. I don't understand that whole science of that. I know there's a difference, but I've never been in trouble with the law, so I don't understand the real problem. But anyway, the drug dealers are like, hey, if you don't steal us some books from this library that you work at, some old books that are worth a lot of money, we're going to have your mom shanked in prison. So Arthur starts to do it. His friends find out. They find a really old tome with King Sorrow, and they decide that they're going to summon a dragon to take care of the drug dealers. And then the dragon's like, ha, 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 now you're mine for life. And the book does take place for their whole life. I'm not joking. See this? This starts at like when they're teenagers. It ends when some of the characters are like in a nursing home practically, or, later. And I was like, let me just try to block out that glare. There we go. Let's block out that glare. I'll block out that glare a little bit. Sorry, I usually record at night, and there is not a curtain there. But let's talk about how I enjoyed the book, the writing. Okay, so this did read, I understand the premise. A group of kids are facing an evil entity as they get older. That's the it comparison that I see. Whereas King Sorrow is Pennywise and the group of kids is the Losers Club. I understand. I get it. I love Stephen King's It. I have a Stephen King's It tattoo. I also have a Dark Tower tattoo because I love Stephen King. But that's where the comparisons kind of ended for me. But there's a lot of stories like that where it's a group of kids versus an evil entity, and the evil entity comes back when you're old. Only difference is there's a line in it where it's like, I don't want this thing coming back when I'm 60. Spoiler alert, kind of happens, but it's fun. I just loved how this book went. So if you don't like, but I will say this, if you do not like the coming of age stuff, where it's stuff that's not involving the dragon, where it's like a marriage, a failed marriage, career changes, moving, school, I'm getting older, I got a bad hip, I'm getting arthritis, stuff like that, you may not like this book because there are parts that don't have to do with the dragon, where it's just the characters living their life. And I will say that I like that kind of stuff. I did feel like when I was reading this, I was like the 6th or 7th member of this group. Like I was with friends. I knew their stories, I knew their heartache, and I was like, oh man, we can't have Arthur climb down the wall. He's got that bad hip. And I was like, yeah, so that I felt great on. But if you don't like that kind of stuff, you're not going to like this. But again, I will say, if you summon an ancient evil entity, you kind of brought this on yourself. So is King Sorrow the bad guy, or is the group of kids the bad guy? Desperate situation calls for desperate action. I understand that. If I was in a similar situation where a family member was going to be hurt and I had to have an evil entity take care of it, baller. But, oh man, the characters. Oh, Arthur, Gwen, Colin, all these characters are great. Van is my favorite. I liked Van a lot. But Arthur's probably my favorite too. Arthur's a dragon nerd, and Van's like this dorky dude who just sort of gets along and has a great time. Relatable to both. But the characters are great. And the way they develop makes sense. Most of the time they do something, you understand their actions, why. And a lot of times I feel like some authors will have a character do something that progresses the plot that's completely against their character. But in this, it felt natural. It felt like a flow. This book had good flow. Like you weren't in a hurry to get there. I enjoyed the journey. I wasn't excited about I was excited about finishing, but I was like, I enjoyed the trip as well. It's like a road trip with friends, You have a good time in the car ride. You end up at the concert at the end, great, but you just enjoy the car ride there and the car ride back. And that's how this felt. The characters are amazing. I will say every character in here did feel like a character. They do have some LGBTQ stuff in here, which normally I feel like some authors have it in there and just to check mark a box. These characters actually felt valid and like solid. No one was a cardboard cutout of themselves. Again, so if you're not into the LGBTQ stuff, great, whatever. If you are, this is good. I'm just trying to find ways to recommend this damn book. Okay, Joe Hill, this is great. King Sorrow 2. Welcome to Derry. King Sorrow, I don't even remember what town. Welcome to London, wherever this book takes place, everywhere. All right. Like I said, the journey. I love this. I did a physical, obviously, and I did an audiobook at my part-time job. I got a full-time and a part-time job. My part-time job's kind of lax because it's overnight, and I can listen to audiobooks while I'm like cleaning and stuff. I can't do it for the whole shift, but I try to get an hour or two in and then an hour or two physical. And I melted through this in a little over a week, and it was amazing. How was the journey? Journey was great. This was great. 5 out of 5 stars. It's not my book of the year. I know what that is, I think, because I've read some really good ones in January, which is sad because my book of the year this year is going to have, my book of the year is like, okay, there's obviously one that kind of like stands out, and there's a couple that are close. This year, it's like, man, the top 10 are all going to be great because Joe Hill, Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian, all that stuff. I'm reading a really awesome Robert Harris right now, Conclave, which I think is great. Oh, so the book of the year this year is going to be tough. I'm reading some good stuff, which is nice because normally I go with like shorter novels and novels people haven't heard of. And I was just like, man, I don't want to reread what everyone's reading. That's a big journey for me. It's like everyone read Red Rising. Everyone read, excuse me, sorry, my allergies are killing me. Everyone read Red Rising. everyone read Mistborn. So I was like, man, I hear about these books all the time, so I'm trying to find something different. With this, I was like, no, everybody likes it. Let's just go with it. And I hate to say that, but everybody was right with this one. And I've been doing that with a couple books. These books that I'm reading are like, oh, dude, you'll love this. You'll love this. You know what? Let God take the wheel. Whatever I find, I think he wants me to read. And I found this. I got this kind of like, my girlfriend works at a library, and they have some books for sale. And I went to see her one day. This was there, and I bought it. And I was like, wow. Cool Christmas gift for me, for myself. And she was there. I went to see her, so I do tell her she got this for me. I know she technically didn't because I bought it, but I do tell her, yep, you got me this because I came to see you and I found it. So yeah, I try to stop by there a lot and see what books they have. But check out your local libraries, boys. But there's been about 11-ish minutes, and you've heard me rant and tell enough about Joe Hill's King of Sorrow that I loved immensely. So Joe Hill, if you like coming of age, fantasy, this is fantasy more than it is horror, but there is some horror scenes. If you like coming of age, if you like a cool character and you want a fun journey, Joe Hill. However, I will say if you don't like slice of life stuff and you're intimidated by a big book, you may want to pass this one up. This has been your boy Prue, guys. 5 out of 5 stars for me. Contender for book of the year. I don't think it's going to be that though, because I got some other pretty good ones here, but thanks for watching. Deuces.